If you do the bidding of the reptilians or any of the occult groups, get out. You don't have my consent to be here. If you hold ill intent towards me, get out. Just, you don't need to be here. It's not for you. This recording isn't for you. You don't have my consent to be here. I don't consent to any forced magic and or reversal magic of any kind, any form, from any source in existence to be forced on any level, dimension, or timeline of my being, any aspect of my life, which is to include any of my recordings in part and or in whole. It's been a little while since I've done a recording. If you are a targeted individual, then I'm just guessing that it's probably been rough. I don't even know if there's a word that I could use to describe the horrificness that's been being forced, that they've been trying to force over the last few months. This place needs to implode. It needs to collapse. It's a farm where very parasitic, animated, dead parasites tried to rape parts of benevolent beings. Like, they're a mix between fucking the Psycho and Silence of the Lambs and Pet Cemetery motherfuckers, right? Like, that's that shouldn't be going on. There shouldn't be animated dead parasites running amok with frequency weaponry. That shouldn't be going on. Anyway, moving on. I've talked about these things in prior recordings. So if you've listened to any of my prior recordings, you know, it'll just be kind of a similar information. That we're in a place that's a farm. It's run by malevolent entities. They're dead parasites. They try to rape astral bodies. Obviously, they're trying to rape other things from humanity too. But they try to do forced cloning, and they try to rape astral bodies. I think that this abhorrent nightmare of a shit show is going on in other places. Now, to be debated whether that's outside of here or within this, what someone called the dome. Does it fucking matter? Okay, benevolent beings don't belong here, and we need to get the fuck out. This is not a place for true benevolent beings, including animals. So, if you are one who has been specifically targeted and that kind of brand of attention is being forced on you, I would guess that you are also needing to get the fuck out of here. So I've talked about the AFF that surrounds this place called Earth, and that when they go to do that thing that they do, every so often, that the technology gets shut off. for a certain period of time. So there may be other ways out of here. I'm really not sure. Some say to go through the earth. Some say that you have to go beyond the astral, which, seems logical. If you can get there, if you can do that, right? They're trying to rape astral bodies. And if they aren't trying to rape yours, then they're trying to use you. Is what that is. So I think for true benevolent beings who are needing and wanting to get the fuck out of here, I think that time, because I think they're getting close to doing that thing that they do. Now, I don't know, do they announce it or do they just do it? I really don't know. But I think it's important to stay as aware and vigilant as you possibly can of the environmental frequencies, especially if you are still able to really receive or being able to really still read the organic energetic field. That's going to be extremely important. So I think for true benevolent beings, our time for getting out of here is when the AFF is shut off, the technology is shut off, and at that point it will be extremely vital to be prepared as far as what actions you are going to be taking and the declarations that you are going to be making at that time, because when the technology is shut off, this place is fully exposed to universal laws and full universal law enforcement. What they try to do is they've really upped their lie, con, and deceit game, and they've tried to they've been working on trying to pump a lot of fear. And it's not our fear, it's their fear. So hopefully you've been able to do enough work on yourself to be able to pull back anything that they've tried to rape from you. And to be able to stand your ground. And especially if you've refused consent to being cloned out, you've refused consent to any part, being attached to any part of the AI system or technology, and you've been able to stand your ground with that. Our time, true benevolent beings needing and wanting to get out of here, I think our time is going to be when they shut the technology off. So it's important, like I said, to be try and be prepared. I don't know if they're going to announce it or not. So try to really be sensing and feeling and especially if they don't announce it, they're still going to be trying to do fuckery. And they try to do a lot with the frequency fuckery. So try to be aware that, to be very discerning of, in the moment, the true frequencies that are there and the false frequencies that they're trying to force. Like especially if you've dealt with those frequencies before, like they're trying to con. They're trying to trap beings here. They're trying to con. So, hopefully, you're able to discern, maybe, especially like incoming new frequencies that are harmonious, happy, jubilant, positive. Hopefully you're able to pick up on those when the technology is shut off, and discard any of the nasty frequencies that they're trying to force. And you have to remember, their shit is lies. Right? They're parasites. They lie. They're always trying to force some kind of a lie, con, or deception. So pretty much, especially if you have the V2K, anything coming out of their vomit hole is a lie. It's just what twist are they trying to put on it? What tack are they trying to take? Are they trying to get information? Are they trying to trick you? Are they trying to put you in fear? Are they trying to make you think something that just absolutely isn't true? Have you refused consent for what the malevolence is trying to force on you? And if the answer is yes, that you've refused consent for all forced clones, clone attachments, clone connections, all forced technological attachments and connections, and you're not down for their nasty, as you have refused consent, then that stands in the presence of universal laws. And it still stands now, but they're in violation. They're doing fuckery and they're in violation. And that shouldn't be going on. But no, in the presence of universal laws, as you have refused consent, then that stands. And do your best to release fear of any kind. They're trying to force their crap. They're nasty. It's not yours. So it's okay to release that fear. Especially trauma, because they'll try, they try to exploit. They're parasites. They use lies to try and exploit. So if they're trying to force trauma or force fear, do your best to recognize it's a fucking lie. And they're trying to keep they're trying to force that fear. So recognize you know, what they're trying to do and release all fear and release all forced trauma. The trauma is being forced and induced via technology and clone. I don't think any true benevolent being here signed up for that shit. Signed up for that fucking noise. So release it. Any old traumas from what they've tried to induce or force, release those too, right? Like they're trying to exploit. So anything that they've, you know, tried to force or lie about or whatever, do your best to release those things. And be releasing those things devoid of anything raped from you and anything the clones have raped from you. Still be pulling back, you know, things that they're trying to rape. Still be pulling your stuff out of AI. Still be pulling your stuff out of clones. Still be pulling your stuff out of any kind of forced magic. And keep refusing consent. But, and stay vigilant. I don't know if they're going to announce it, but we need to be really as aware as we can so we can recognize when the technology is shut off, and be prepared, know what actions you're going to take and what declarations you're going to make. And at that point, it's still absolutely imperative to be calling for the full enforcement of universal laws here. And at that point, you know, be releasing all forced fear, trauma, pain, and harm, and the entities forcing those directly to universal laws for immediate correction. And moving to universal laws anything that is being forced on you that you've, you know, refused consent for. And you know, even if you've been moving them and their violations to universal laws, that is the best time to be moving them and their violations of universal laws to universal laws directly. It's going to be your best time. Releasing, you know, like I said, all forced fear and trauma, being forced, and the entities forcing those. Pulling back. At that point, you're still going to be, that is the best time to be pulling anything raped from you out of any AI system, artificial reality, astral realm, clone, magic, malevolence, and pulling it back to you in your fully healed state. And I thought it important to mention that. Just a moment. You can even go bigger than that if you're one who periodically works with like larger issues. that time when the technology is down is the appropriate time to be doing the most that you can with your benevolent intent. So whether it's helping to release other trapped souls, having to do with collapsing this matrix, releasing all force technology and the entities forcing those. So yeah, I'm just pointing out that time when the technology is down is the best time to be doing the most with your benevolent intent. And trying to recognize and be aware of when they turn the tech off. Okay, just a moment. Let me see if I wanted to add anything else. Know that they've got a lot of agents out, if you haven't already figured that out. They like to find true benevolent beings' channels, and they try to rape information and knowledge and try and pass it off as their own. And then they try and do magic on it. So I would say if they're not talking about the AFF, if they're not talking about reptilians, the entities that have been, in quotes, running this place, talking about the horrificness that they've been trying to force with technology, if they're not trying to find solutions out of here, then, I don't know. For me personally, that would send up a red flag. If they're talking about like just trying to cope or adapt or walk around in love and light or, shit like that, then they're trying to trap. They're not trying to help in their agents. So I'm just saying, make sure you stay aware of the ones you're listening to, and yeah, true benevolent beings don't belong here. This is a farm where animated dead parasites trying to rape parts of beings. We need to get the fuck out of here. And it seems like that this place is probably part of a larger operation of other places. Now, it might be hard for some to wrap their, to understand that kind of a description. Of this place and outside of this place. The fact that there hasn't been true benevolent intervention here is a huge, 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 huge red flag for whatever's outside of here. Now, universal laws are real, they do exist, and they are outside of here. But there's been a lot of fuckery. There's been a lot of lies, cons, and deceit. And it seems like there's some entities outside of here that are, let's just say, they might be trying to use things that aren't theirs to try and stay in those places. And if that's true, this place needs to, this matrix needs to be imploded. It needs to collapse, along with all the other ones like it. And true universal laws must be enforced everywhere. And for those outside of here who are complicit and guilty of anything that's been being forced here or try to be forced here by those entities, needs to be held to account. Because there have been many ways that they could have intervened and assisted, but seemingly they chose not to, which means they're complicit. So true benevolent beings need to continue to stand their ground, continue pulling back anything that they try to rape from you, continue to release fear and trauma, harm and pain that's not yours. And when the tech is shut off, it will be true benevolent beings knowing the truth of things, standing in the presence of full universal laws, contradicting their lies. Is one way to bring down this matrix, initiate correction and remedy, and hopefully try to free true benevolent beings, and including the souls of those, from before that may have already passed, or from prior civilizations. All right. Stay vigilant, stay aware, stay strong, stand in your power and authority, and refuse consent for what they're trying to force. Refuse consent for all forced rape. Refuse consent for all forced fear, trauma, pain, and harm. Refuse consent for all forced clone connections and technological connections, as well as refuse consent for all forced astral realm and artificial reality connections. Till next time.